Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to Nature to Nurture. Now we are in Module 2, Understanding the Life Cycle of a Mushroom. So, in this module, we will be covering the life cycle of a mushroom, what is a spore, the mycelium network, and the mushroom body. Yaddy, yaddy. So my camera isn't working in this module, and maybe I'm not sure if it's going to work in any other modules. But just know I am smiling at all of your beautiful faces. So people always ask me all the time. They're like, "Tay Faye, how do mushrooms grow? Do you need seeds for them?" And I say, "No, you need spores." So, what is a spore? A mushroom spore is a microscopic reproductive cell that allows mushrooms to reproduce and spread, similar to how seeds function for plants. So, similar to seeds, mushrooms have spores, or, similar to plants, mushrooms have spores instead of seeds. These spores are produced by the mushroom's fruiting body, the part we typically recognize as the mushroom, and are dispersed to potentially grow into new fungi. They are incredibly small with thousands fitting on a pinhead. I got a little pinhead Larry right there. I'm a 90s baby, y'all. I grew up with SpongeBob. All right. So as said before, um, mushrooms start with a spore. And in this picture, you can see a spore print, which is something that you are able to you're able to collect from the mushroom cap after growing your mushroom so that you can use the spores to create liquid cultures, spore syringes, and a plethora of things, honestly. And you can grow a ton of mushrooms just from this one print, which is so amazing to me. Spores are like mushroom seeds, though they contain no stored nutrients, just potential. Each spore contains the DNA blueprint for a new mycelium network. They are microscopic and spread through air, water, or animals. So, in each stage, I'm going to connect to a spiritual connection or meaning, or something that symbolizes this to us as we are growing on our journey as well. So, the spiritual representation, it represents intention, beginning, and potential energy. Even before anything is visible, life is forming in unseen ways, just like our goals or manifestations. So, just like the seeds or spores that we plant in our minds when we envision something for ourselves, is literally so is literally the same thing as planting a new seed or a new spore into some soil. Well, or grain, speaking on mushrooms, because spores don't go in the soil. But we'll speak more on that and how that connects to us. So, the second stage is germination. When spores land in suitable, nutrient rich environments, they germinate. Two compatible spores fuse to form mycelium, the true body of the fungus. And the spiritual connection to this is connection and partnership. Nothing grows in isolation. It takes balance and harmony. Moisture, funny, haha, nutrients and energy. And this is true. Like, to be able to grow something, we connect to each other. For us to grow as humans, we have to connect to each other, and learning from each other and feeding each other with nutrients helps us grow. Mycelium growth stage. Mycelium expands through the substrate, digesting. Okay, let me start that over. Mycelium expands through the substrate, digesting nutrients externally. It forms a vast underground network, the brain of the fungus. This stage can last weeks to months, depending on the species. And the spiritual connection to this would be represent our foundation building, and quiet expansion. The most important growth happens in the unseen. Patience is key. So, in this picture, you can see the mycelium growing in the grow bags, and all this the white stuff that you see here, that is called mycelium. The primordial pinning stage. Under the right humidity, temperature, and light, the mycelium forms promedia, tiny knots that become mushroom pins. This is the first visible sign of fruiting. And the spiritual connection to this is when inner work begins to take form. Small beginnings deserve celebration, they signal transformation. Think of this stage as seeing your first signs of progress after a long period of internal growth. So you can think of this as, say, if you're somebody who, for example, is working out, you like working out, or you have a goal to, gain weight or lose weight. And you start off by going to the gym. You don't see any results in the first couple of weeks, maybe even the first couple of months. But if you keep going, you keep putting in energy, you keep putting in progress, then you will start to see those little muscles forming. And then you're like, oh my God, look at me. I am sexy. And that's how we'll feel when we start to see our pins growing. We're going to say, look at those little sexy critters popping up. And this is what it looks like in this picture here. You can see all these little mushroom pins. They're like little mushroom babies. But it takes patience. It takes time. If you don't see something in the first couple of weeks, don't give up. Keep going. You never know what's going to happen. You have to keep pouring in energy because that's how things are able to grow. Consistency. The next stage is going to be our fruiting body stage. The plants mature into full mushrooms, the reproductive structure of the mycelium. It's the visible reward after hidden work. This is when harvestable medicine or food develops. So once this stage begins, it's time for you to go ahead, chop the mushrooms up, and, you know, connecting to our progression. This is when if you're going to the gym, or if you're putting in energy into yourself, or you're starting something new, a new journey, at this stage you start to see results, whether it be you saving money, whether it be you starting a new diet, whether it be you starting a new connection. It takes time for things to grow, and that is one thing I love about mushrooms. It teaches us that it takes time, and just a little bit of love goes a long way. Spiritual represents abundance, expression, and reward. The fruiting body is a reflection of what's being cultivated below the surface. So, as we cultivate ourselves, we cultivate our expansion, we cultivate the things within us. And mushrooms help us understand that even more on a deeper level. And here are a couple of photos for my lovely visual learners. As you see here, we start with the spores, and you can kind of see it coming from the cap of the mushroom, little babies, and then it spreads, and then it germinates. And then you can see the mycelium growing, and it's forming. Then a little pin comes up, and then it continues to grow until we get our fruit body, which is our mushroom. But underneath, as you can see the mycelium growing, this is the organism of the mushroom, or it's basically what's happening underneath. It's the roots of it. And it's so interesting how it expands and what it does for soil and what it even does for our mind. It helps us make connections in our mind, and it's beautiful. It looks kind of like veins to the body, or nerves. All right, here's another picture. So let's start with our spores here. Then we go to germination. As you can see, that's when two compatible spores are meeting. They're like, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" Other spore like, "Hey," and they're like, "Let's get together. Let's go out Saturday. Let's have a party." And then the mycelium network is like, "Oh, I love the party. Hell yeah!" And then they wind up getting together on some other stuff, getting a little tipsy, and then they start to spread. One mycelium, one spore calls the other like, "Oh, I think I'm pregnant," and then they start to have little mycelium babies, mycelium, spreading, spreading, and then it grows up and it's a lovely mushroom that will help us expand and be the greatest mushroom ever. All right, and here are the parts of a mushroom. As you can see, the top that looks like a little umbrella there is called a cap. When you see this little kind of skin fold thing, that is called a ring. Underneath the cap are called gills. And then this long stemmy part is we'll call it a stem. And then some mushroom, not all mushrooms all look alike. Some mushrooms, we see a lot that do have different looks. They come in all different shapes and sizes, and they all do different things. They all have different effects. Some common gourmet mushrooms that we all may be a little bit familiar with. Shiitake, some of my favorite. I love to fry these up, y'all. I make some amazing fried shiitake mushrooms. Oyster mushrooms, I also fry these. I pretty much fry all of them. I pretty much fry all of them. But oyster mushrooms taste so good. So if you're looking for like a seafood replacement or anything like that, the oyster mushroom is gonna be your best friend because it kind of has like a clammy kind of taste to it. Not all do, they all kind of taste differently. There are different kinds of oyster mushrooms. Then I got the lovely lion's mane. Ooh, lovely lion. This one has a very interesting taste. It's really good. It's very tasty. It's almost like you really don't even need to put much seasoning on it because it has this natural kind of, I want to say like not salty taste, but like it's very flavorful. Like it's very flavorful. And the morel, I have not tried morel yet, but I heard that they're really good. But they grow naturally here. Here as in North America. And then some of my favorite psychedelic mushrooms are golden teachers. These are good for beginners. They're great for if you want something a little bit more introspective. Blue meanies also great for beginners. Great for if you want something that is social, kind of have you more uplifted. Penis envy, great for more moderate to advanced people who do mushrooms. Penis envy is going to give you a little bit more visuals, a little bit more introspective, and just overall a nice euphoric feeling. B plus, I actually have not experienced B plus, but I hear that they are definitely good for beginners as well. Kind of more low dose. You probably have to take a lot if you want to actually have visuals and things of that nature, but more introspective as well. And here is a great video that you all can watch in your free time. It's just talking about the life of a forest fungi, and it's just a good video. I really like that video a lot. Kind of goes through the life cycle of mushrooms, and you get to learn a little bit more about mushrooms. The mycelium within reflection journal page. So I eh, I want you all to be able to connect with your mushrooms. I want you all to be intentional as you grow. And I want you to use this page to connect to each stage of the mushroom life cycle to your own journey. Reflect with honesty, curiosity, and gratitude. So, in the spore stage, planting intentions. Like spores, your dreams start unseen. What new seeds are you planting? What intentions or ideas are you nurturing in the dark? How can you create a fertile environment for these intentions to take root? All right. And we're going to come back to this page. I actually want you guys to just focus on that right now. Okay? If you want to print this page off, um and just kind of follow along with it as we go through each stage. But I want y'all to, for now, I want you to focus on that one, and then we'll come back to each stage as we continue to move along in our beautiful, beautiful mushroom journey. Okay. And I also have for you all, this is a mushroom and soul growth log. So with this, you're going to be observing your mushrooms. You're going to be logging the temperature, the humidity, and you can print as many of these pages off. And I want you to all just use this as a note-taking reflection page. So as you are growing your mushrooms, you're keeping up with everything, and you're able to document what works, what doesn't work, and what you're kind of able to know what energy you're pouring into your mushrooms. All right. All right, you all. And that is the end of this module. Continue to the next module, and we will start exploring more of our mushroom world as we begin to grow our own mushrooms. All right. Peace to you all.